Sienna Jones made 3 mistakes that night. First, taking a risky photo in red lingerie to boost her confidence. Second, sending it to the wrong contact in her phone. Third, underestimating the man who received it. His response was immediate. Stunning. I'll pick you up at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Wear that. She blocked the number immediately, heart racing. Probably just some creep. But the next evening, her doorbell rang. A man in an expensive suit stood there with a cold smile. Mr. Kang doesn't like to be ignored. The car is downstairs. That's when it hit her. She hadn't texted a random stranger. She'd accidentally seduced Kang Jun, the most dangerous Korean crime boss in Los Angeles, and he'd just decided she was his. If you're already hooked, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what you think Sienna should do. Run or take the risk. 24 hours earlier, Sienna had been having the worst day of her month. Her ex-boyfriend Devin's Instagram story showed him at some exclusive launch party with his new girlfriend, a lifestyle influencer with perfect everything. 6 months since the breakup, and it still stung. He'd made her feel like she wasn't enough, not successful enough, not interesting enough, not beautiful enough. So when her best friend Maya texted, "You need to remind yourself you're hot. Take a photo. For you. Not for any man." Sienna had actually listened. A bottle of wine helped. She'd bought the red lingerie set months ago, tags still on, saving it for a special occasion that never came with Devin. Tonight felt like reclaiming something. The photo came out better than expected. Confident, sensual, powerful. She looked like a woman who knew her worth. She meant to send it to Maya with a laughing emoji, and the caption, "Look at me being bold." Her thumb hit send before she double-checked the contact. The message showed, delivered, to building management. Her stomach dropped. That was the number the apartment complex gave all residents for maintenance requests. She'd texted them last week about a leaky faucet. Oh God, oh no, 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 no. She scrambled to unsend the message, but it was too late. The little read notification appeared almost instantly. Then 3 dots. Someone was typing. "Wrong number, I'm so sorry. Please delete that." She sent the message in a panic, face burning. The response came through, and Sienna's blood went cold. Stunning. I'll pick you up at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Wear that. What kind of building maintenance guy responds like that? Creep. Definite creep. She blocked the number immediately, heart hammering, and tried to convince herself it was over. Just some weirdo. He didn't actually know which apartment was hers. Probably. She didn't sleep well. The next day crawled by in agonizing slowness. She jumped at every notification, checked her door's peephole twice, and almost convinced herself she'd overreacted. By 7:30 that evening, she'd actually relaxed, enough to order Thai food and queue up a Netflix show. Then her doorbell rang. Sienna froze, chopsticks halfway to her mouth. She wasn't expecting anyone. Slowly she crept to the door and looked through the peephole. A man stood in her hallway. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a perfectly tailored black suit that probably cost more than her rent. His face was impassive, professional, almost bored. He looked like Secret Service, or a very expensive funeral director. He knocked again. "Ms. Jones, Mr. Kang sent me. He's waiting in the car." Her heart stopped. How did he know her name? "I don't know any Mr. Kang," she called through the door, voice shaking. "You have the wrong apartment." The man's expression didn't change. "Mr. Kang doesn't appreciate being ignored. He also said to tell you he knows you're scared, but you intrigue him. The car is downstairs. He's a patient man, but he doesn't like to wait long." This was insane. She should call the police. She should scream. She should. He also said, the man continued as if reading her mind, that if you're genuinely uncomfortable, he'll leave you alone. but he'd like the chance to apologize in person for startling you. One dinner. That's all he's asking. Sienna's mind raced. This was either the most elaborate and terrifying pickup attempt she'd ever experienced, or she was in actual danger. Either way, calling the cops felt extreme. What would she even say? A hot guy wants to take me to dinner. But something about the way the man said, Mr. Kang, made her uneasy, like the name should mean something. Who is Mr. Kang? She asked, through the door. The man's lips twitched, almost a smile. Someone you don't say no to. That should have been her cue to deadbolt the door and hide. Instead, some reckless part of her. The part that had taken that photo in the first place. The part that was tired of playing it safe and small. Spoke up. Give me 10 minutes. She couldn't believe the words had left her mouth. But they had. And now she was running to her bedroom, heart pounding, asking herself what the hell she was doing. She wasn't going to wear the lingerie. That was insane. But she also wasn't showing up in her Thai food-stained sweatpants. She pulled on a simple black dress, elegant enough for wherever they were going, comfortable enough to run in if this went south. Her hands shook as she applied lipstick. This was the dumbest thing she'd ever done. Probably. But something about the way that text had read, stunning, had made her feel seen in a way she hadn't felt in months, and she was so tired of being invisible. When she opened her door, the man was still there, waiting patiently. He gave her a once-over, professional and brief. This way, Ms. Jones. The elevator ride down was silent. Sienna's mind screamed at her to press the emergency stop button, to run, to do literally anything other than follow this stranger. But her feet kept moving. A black Mercedes waited, at the curb, engine running. The man opened the back door. That's when she saw him. Kang Jun sat in the back seat, and Sienna's breath caught. He was younger than she'd expected, early 30s maybe, with sharp features and dark eyes that tracked her every movement. He wore a charcoal suit that fit like it was made for him, because it probably was. His expression was calm, almost amused. Ms. Jones, he said, and his voice was exactly like she'd imagined from the text. Smooth, controlled, with the faintest accent. I apologize for the dramatics. I'm not usually so forward. But you didn't give me much choice when you blocked my number. Sienna stood frozen on the sidewalk. Every instinct told her to run. But his eyes held hers, and she saw something there. Curiosity, interest, nothing threatening. Not yet. I don't usually send lingerie photos to strangers, she managed, voice steadier than she felt. So I guess we're both off our game. His lips curved. Barely. Get in. We'll call it even. It wasn't a request, but it wasn't quite a command either. It was something in between. An invitation wrapped in inevitability. Sienna got in the car. The door closed behind her with a final sounding click. The car pulled away from the curb smoothly, and Sienna became acutely aware of how small the back seat felt, with Kang Jun sitting barely 2 feet away. He smelled like expensive cologne and something else. Power, maybe. Danger. So, she said, because silence felt more dangerous than talking. You're not actually with building management. No. And you tracked down my apartment how exactly? He glanced at her, and there was that almost smile again. I own your building, among others. Of course he did. That's not creepy at all. Would you prefer I'd let you block me and spend the rest of your life wondering who received that photo? Yes, actually. That sounds great. Much better than whatever this is. Jun turned to face her fully now, and the intensity of his attention made her breath hitch. You're scared. You sent a man in a suit to collect me like I'm a package. So yeah, a little. If you want out, Deho will turn the car around right now. Say the word. His voice was completely serious. But I don't think you want that. Sienna's jaw tightened. You don't know anything about me. I know you took that photo because you wanted to feel powerful. I know you sent it by accident, but you didn't apologize for the photo itself, just for sending it to the wrong person. I know you're sitting here right now instead of calling the police, which means some part of you is curious. He paused. And I know your ex-boyfriend is an idiot who didn't deserve you. She blinked. How do you? You have a tell. When you're thinking about him, your jaw does this thing. He gestured vaguely at her face. You've done it 3 times since you got in the car. This man was observant and dangerous, and Sienna should absolutely demand to be taken home. Instead, she found herself asking, where are we going? Somewhere private, where we can talk without interruption. That's a serial killer answer. June's lips twitched into an actual smile this time, brief but genuine. If I wanted to hurt you, Ms. Jones, I wouldn't waste time on dinner. That's also a serial killer answer. You're funny when you're nervous. You're terrifying when you're calm. He laughed, a low, quiet sound that did strange things to her pulse. Fair. The car pulled up to a building in downtown LA, all glass and steel, and too expensive for Sienna to have ever noticed before. Deho opened the door, and Jun stepped out first, then offered his hand to help her. She ignored it, and got out on her own. His smile widened slightly. The elevator required a key card. They rode up in silence, Sienna counting floors, Jun watching her count. When the doors opened, they stepped directly into a penthouse apartment that looked like something from a magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, lights glittering like fallen stars. This is yours? She asked, despite herself. One of them. Right. Because of course it was. What exactly do you do, Mr. Kang? Jun. And I handle logistics. Logistics. Import-export property management investment opportunities. Sienna turned to face him. You're being deliberately vague. I'm being polite. He moved to a bar cart and poured 2 glasses of wine without asking if she wanted any. The truth tends to scare people away, and I'd like you to stay for dinner at least. He handed her a glass. Their fingers brushed, and Sienna felt the contact like electricity. Try honesty, she said. I might surprise you. Jun studied her for a long moment. Then he set his glass down. I run organizations that operate outside traditional legal frameworks. I own legitimate businesses that generate legitimate income. But I also control operations that the police would very much like to prove exist. I have enemies who would use anyone close to me as leverage, and I have resources that make me essentially untouchable. He paused. Does that scare you? It should. It absolutely should. Sienna's heart was racing, but not entirely from fear. You're telling me you're a criminal. I'm telling you I'm powerful. How you define that is up to you. And you invited me here because I accidentally sent you a photo. I invited you here because you intrigued me. The photo was just the introduction. He stepped closer, and Sienna's back hit the window. Not trapped. She could move if she wanted, but she didn't. Most people in this city are predictable, boring. You blocked me. No one blocks me. Maybe more people should. Probably. His eyes dropped to her lips, then back up. Are you going to run? She should. Every logical brain cell screamed at her to get out. But standing here, with this dangerous man looking at her like she was the most interesting thing in his world, Sienna felt something she hadn't felt in months. Seen, valued, desired. Not yet, she whispered. Jun's smile was slow and dangerous. Good. Dinner was delivered by someone who set up the table without making eye contact and disappeared like a ghost. The food was incredible. Some fusion of Korean and French cuisine that Sienna couldn't name, but devoured anyway. Jun asked questions, real ones, about her photography hobby, her business degree, what she actually wanted from life, instead of what she thought she should want. He listened, like her answers mattered, like she mattered. "Your turn," she said finally, third glass of wine making her bold. "Why are you really single? Men who look like you and have penthouses don't stay unattached unless they want to." "Who says I'm single?" Her stomach dropped. "Are you serious?" "No." He looked almost apologetic. "But your face just now was entertaining. You're an asshole." "Frequently." He refilled her glass. "I'm unmarried, because the women I meet want one of two things: my money or my status. No one's ever blocked my number before. No one's ever called me an asshole to my face." "Really? You must not get out much." He laughed again, and Sienna realized she liked that sound, liked that she could make this controlled, dangerous man genuinely smile. "Tell me about your ex," Jun said. "Absolutely not." "He hurt you." "He made me small," Sienna corrected before she could stop herself. The wine was definitely talking now. "I spent 2 years trying to be what he wanted, quieter, less opinionated, more grateful for his attention. And it still wasn't enough. He left me for someone shinier." Jun's expression darkened. "What's his name?" "Why?" "Curiosity. You're not having him killed because my feelings got hurt. I wasn't planning on killing him." Jun's voice was mild, but his eyes weren't. Maybe just a conversation about respect. "That's insane. That's protective." He leaned forward. "You deserve someone who doesn't make you smaller. You deserve someone who wants all of you. The bold parts, the sharp parts, the parts that send risky photos and block strange men." Sienna's breath caught. "You don't even know me." "Then let me." It wasn't a question. It was an invitation, a challenge. "Stay, not just for tonight. Stay and let me show you what it's like to be with someone who sees you." "This is crazy." "Yes. You're dangerous. Very. I should leave right now." "Probably." Jun stood and crossed to her, offering his hand. "But you won't." Sienna looked at his hand, at his face, at the city glittering behind him through those massive windows. She thought about Devon, about playing it safe, about making herself small and quiet, and acceptable. She took his hand. Jun pulled her close, and when he spoke, his voice was low and rough. "Tell me to stop." "No." He kissed her then, soft at first, testing. When she kissed back, it deepened into something desperate and consuming. His hands framed her face like she was precious, and Sienna felt something crack open inside her chest. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jun pressed his forehead to hers. "This changes things," he said quietly. "I know. You can still walk away." Sienna thought about it, really thought about it. Then she smiled. Not yet. 3 weeks later, Sienna's life had become something she didn't recognize. Jun was constant, not smothering, but present. He texted her good morning in Korean and taught her how to respond. He sent cars to pick her up from late library sessions. He took her to private art galleries after hours and watched her photograph empty spaces like she was creating something magical. And the man had layers. In business meetings, the legitimate ones he let her glimpse, he was cold and calculating. With his people, he was respected and feared. But with her, alone in his penthouse or walking through Little Tokyo at midnight, he softened into someone almost vulnerable. "You're staring," Jun said, without looking up from his laptop. They were in his home office, Sienna editing photos on the couch while he worked. "You have a tell too," she said. "When you're stressed, you do this thing with your jaw." He glanced at her, amused. "I don't get stressed." "Liar. What's wrong?" Jun closed the laptop and leaned back. For a moment she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "Someone's pushing into territory that's mine. It's handled, but it's inconvenient." "Territory," Sienna repeated. You mean illegal territory. I mean mine. She'd learned not to push too hard on the details of his work. Some part of her didn't want to know. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Is it dangerous? No more than usual. That's not comforting. Jun stood and crossed to the couch, pulling her onto his lap in one smooth motion. She went willingly now, no longer startled by his casual displays of possession. I told you what my life is. If it's too much, it's not. She cut him off with a kiss. I'm just adjusting. You're doing better than adjusting. His hands settled on her hips, thumbs tracing small circles. You're thriving. I see it. He was right. Sienna felt different lately, bolder. She spoke up more, stood straighter, stopped apologizing for taking up space. Jun noticed everything, remembered that she hated spicy food, that she loved to photograph in golden hour light, that she needed silence when she was editing photos. He made her feel visible in a way that was addictive. I have a question, she said, playing with the collar of his shirt, and you have to answer honestly. Always. Why me? Really? You could have anyone. Jun was quiet for a moment, his dark eyes searching hers. Because you make me feel normal, not like a shiny object. Do you know how rare that is? Most people in this city either want something from me or fear me. You did neither. You saw me as an inconvenience. He smiled slightly. It was refreshing. So this is a novelty thing. No. His voice turned serious. This is a, you make me feel human thing. This is a, I think about you constantly thing. This is a, you're becoming dangerous to me thing. Sienna's breath caught. Dangerous how? Dangerous because people I care about become targets. His grip tightened slightly. Dangerous because I'm starting to make decisions based on what keeps you safe rather than what's strategically sound. Dangerous because... She kissed him, cutting off whatever he was going to say. When they broke apart, she whispered, I'm not going anywhere. You should. Too late. Jun groaned and pulled her closer, burying his face in her neck. You're going to ruin me. Good. You probably deserve it. He laughed against her skin, and Sienna felt the rumble through her whole body. Probably. That night, they made love for the first time. Jun was careful, attentive, watching her face like he was memorizing every expression. When he told her she was beautiful, Sienna believed him. When he whispered, You're perfect exactly like this, something Devon had broken inside her, finally healed. Afterward, wrapped in his sheets, Jun traced patterns on her bare shoulder. Tell me something true, something you've never told anyone. Sienna thought about it. I used to take pictures of other people's happiness because I didn't think I deserved my own. I thought, if I documented enough joy, maybe some of it would stick to me. Jun's hand stilled. Then he pulled her closer. And now? Now I'm starting to believe I can have my own. Sarange, he murmured into her hair. What does that mean? It means you're mine, and I'm keeping you. She smiled against his chest. That's not what it means. Close enough. But the peace didn't last. 2 days later, Sienna received the first message. Unknown number. You're prettier in person. That red dress you wore Tuesday? Stunning. Her blood went cold. She'd worn a red dress to dinner with Jun on Tuesday. Someone had been watching. She showed Jun immediately. His expression went blank. Completely, utterly blank, in a way that was more terrifying than anger. Daiho, he said quietly, and his bodyguard appeared like he'd been summoned. Jun showed him the message. Find out who. Now. Jun, maybe it's not just anything. Jun's voice was sharp. Someone is watching you. Someone knows you're with me. This is exactly what I was afraid of. More messages came over the next week. Photos of her leaving her apartment, walking to class, meeting Maya for coffee, each one accompanied by increasingly threatening messages. She's beautiful when she smiles. Does she know what you really are? How long before you get her killed? Jun insisted she move into the penthouse. Daiho became her constant shadow, and Sienna started to understand what Jun's world really meant. Not the luxury and power, but the paranoia and danger. Then Devon called. She stared at his name on her screen for 3 rings before answering. What do you want? Sienna. Hey, I know this is out of the blue, but can we talk? In person? His voice was familiar, careful. I've been thinking about how things ended, and I owe you an apology. A real one. She should say no. She should hang up. But some part of her, the part that had spent 6 months wondering what she'd done wrong, needed this. Needed closure. Needed to look him in the eye and realize she'd outgrown him. Fine. Coffee. Tomorrow. The place on 4th Street. 1 hour. That's it. When she told Jun, his expression went carefully neutral. You're meeting your ex. For closure. That's all. I don't like it. You don't have to like it. I'm not asking permission. The words came out sharper than intended, but Sienna didn't take them back. She was tired of men trying to control her choices. Jun studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. You're right. I'm sorry. But take Daiho. Keep him close. That's paranoid. That's careful. Please. For me. The genuine concern in his voice softened her. Fine. But he stays outside. The coffee shop was public, bright, safe. Devon was already there when she arrived, and for the first time in months, seeing him didn't hurt. He looked smaller somehow, less significant. You look good, he said, standing to hug her. She allowed it briefly, then sat across from him. Really good. Different. What did you want to talk about, Devon? I messed up. With us. I was in a bad place, and I took it out on you. Made you feel like you weren't enough when the truth is, I wasn't enough for you. He looked genuinely regretful. I've been in therapy, working on myself, and I realized I never really apologized. So, I'm sorry, Sienna, for all of it. It was exactly what old Sienna had wanted to hear for months, but new Sienna just felt nothing. Maybe a little pity. I appreciate that, she said. I really do. But I've moved on, Devon. I'm happy now. Happier than I ever was with you, if I'm honest. Something flickered across his face. I heard you're seeing someone. Is it serious? Very. That's good. I'm happy for you. He pulled out his phone. Actually, can I see your phone real quick? I think I left some photos on your cloud that I wanted to grab. Old memories. It was such a casual request. So innocent. Sienna unlocked her phone and handed it over, watching as he scrolled through her photo library. Here we go, he said, tapping a few things. Just airdropping these to myself. Takes a second. He smiled at her. Remember that trip to Santa Barbara? That was a good weekend. It was. He handed her phone back a minute later. They talked for another 20 minutes. Surface level, polite, meaningless. When Sienna finally left, she felt lighter. That chapter was closed. She could finally stop wondering about what-ifs. Daiho was waiting by the car. Everything okay? Yeah, it was fine. Good, actually. I got closure. What Sienna didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that Devon had installed sophisticated spyware on her phone in those 60 seconds. Every text, every call, every location would now be tracked and recorded. And somewhere across the city, FBI agents were already monitoring the feed, building their case against Kang Jun one message at a time. For 2 weeks, everything felt perfect. Sienna had closure with Devon. The threatening messages stopped, and Jun seemed more relaxed. They fell into a rhythm. Mornings where he taught her Korean over coffee. Evenings where she edited photos while he worked. Nights where they explored each other like they had all the time in the world. Say it again. Jun murmured against her neck. They were tangled in his sheets, early morning light filtering through the windows. Saranghae, Sienna whispered, her Korean improving. Again. Nato Saranghae. I love you too. Jun pulled back to look at her, his expression unguarded in a way she rarely saw. I didn't think I could feel this. Didn't think I was capable of it anymore. Feel what? Safe. With another person. He traced her jawline. You make me feel safe. Sienna's heart squeezed. This dangerous man, this person everyone feared, felt safe with her. You make me feel brave. You were always brave. You just didn't know it. She kissed him, slow and deep, and they got lost in each other again, until Daeho's discreet knock interrupted them. Boss, we have a problem. Jun's entire demeanor shifted instantly, from lover to leader. He pulled on clothes and stepped into the hallway. Sienna could hear low, urgent voices, but couldn't make out words. When Jun returned, his face was carved from stone. What's wrong? Someone accessed our secure communications. We have a leak. His jaw tightened, and the FBI made contact with one of my suppliers. They're building something. Sienna's stomach dropped, remembering Devon's questions about Jun. But that was paranoia. Devon had apologized. He'd moved on. What does that mean for us? It means I need to be more careful. It means you need to stay close. He sat on the bed, suddenly looking exhausted. It means this life I promised would only touch you at the edges is closing in. She took his hand. Then we deal with it. Together. You should leave, while you still can, before this gets worse. Stop trying to push me away when things get hard. I'm not going anywhere. Jun pulled her into his arms, holding her like she might disappear. You're too good for this world. Or maybe I'm exactly what this world needs. 3 days later, everything shattered. Daeho found the spyware during a routine security check. Every message Sienna had sent Jun, every photo, every location, all of it had been feeding to an external source for 2 weeks. When was it installed? Jun's voice was deadly calm. Daeho checked the metadata. 2 weeks ago, Thursday afternoon. The day she'd met Devon for coffee. Sienna felt the blood drain from her face. No, he wouldn't. Your phone, Ms. Jones. Daeho's voice was gentle but firm. She handed it over with shaking hands. He worked in silence for several minutes, then looked at Jun. Sophisticated spyware, law enforcement grade, installed during a 60-second access window. When I gave him my phone, Sienna whispered. Oh God, when I gave him my phone to get photos. Jun stood perfectly still, but Sienna could see the rage building beneath his controlled exterior. He used you. I didn't know. Jun, I swear I didn't. I know. He crossed to her, cupped her face. I know you didn't, but he did. He played you perfectly. The apology, the closure, all of it was to get access. Sienna felt sick, stupid, used. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize for trusting someone. Apologize for nothing. But his eyes were cold when he turned to Daeho. Find him. Jun, what are you going to do? What needs to be done? You promised no one gets hurt. Jun's jaw worked. He put you in danger. He violated you. He's feeding information to people who want to destroy everything I've built. And killing him makes you exactly what they think you are. Sienna's voice rose. Please, handle this legally. Prove you're better than what they think. I'm not better, Sienna. I've never pretended to be. Then be better for me. The words hung between them. Jun closed his eyes, and when he opened them, some of the rage had banked. I won't kill him, but he will face consequences. What kind of consequences? The legal kind. I have lawyers who are very good at making problems disappear through proper channels. It should have been reassuring, but Sienna knew Jun's lawyers probably skirted more lines than they followed. Still, It was better than the alternative. That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay in June's arms, but her mind raced. Devon had played her perfectly, used her feelings, her need for closure, to betray someone she cared about. How had she been so blind? "Stop thinking so loud," June murmured in the darkness. "I should have seen it. Should have known. He's a good liar. That's not your fault. You didn't trust him. You tried to warn me. And you stood your ground. That's not weakness. That's strength. I don't want someone who blindly follows my every word." He pulled her closer. "I want you, exactly as you are, even when you're wrong." "That's not romantic. It's honest." She turned to face him. "What happens now? With the FBI? They have recordings, but without you testifying, most of it's inadmissible. Conversations between us, discussions about legitimate business. Nothing concrete they can build a case on. And if they pressure me to testify?" June was quiet for a moment. "Would you?" "No. Never." "Then they have nothing." But 2 days later, 2 FBI agents showed up at her university campus. They cornered her after class, badges out, expressions professionally concerned. "Ms. Jones, Special Agent Morrison, Special Agent Kim, we need to talk about Kang Jun." Sienna's heart raced, but she kept her voice steady. "I don't have anything to say to you. We know about the spyware on your phone. We know you've been in a relationship with a known criminal. We're offering you a way out." Agent Morrison stepped closer. "Immunity, full protection, new identity if necessary. You just have to cooperate." "Cooperate how?" "Testify to what you've seen, what you know about his operations." "I don't know anything about his operations." Agent Kim smiled thinly. "We both know that's not true. You've been living with him for weeks. You've seen things, heard things. Help us build our case, and you walk away clean. And if I refuse, then you're complicit. When we bring him down, and we will, you go down with him. Conspiracy charges, racketeering. You're a smart woman, Ms. Jones. Don't throw your life away for a man who sees you as temporary." Rage flared hot and bright in Sienna's chest. "You don't know anything about him, about us. We know he's dangerous. We know people around him tend to get hurt. We know his enemies are already watching you." Agent Morrison pulled out a photo, Sienna leaving June's building. "How long do you think you'll stay safe? Am I being arrested?" "Not yet." "Then I'm leaving. And if you contact me again, I'm calling my lawyer." She walked away on shaking legs, willing herself not to run. Behind her, she heard Agent Kim say, "She'll come around. They always do." In the car, Daeho looked at her in the rearview mirror. "They approached you?" "Yes. Boss needs to know." "I know." Jun was waiting when she got back, and one look at her face told him everything. She explained the conversation, watching his expression grow darker with every word. "They threatened you. They offered me a deal. I refused. And they'll come back. Harder next time." Jun paced, and Sienna could see him calculating, planning. "This is escalating faster than I expected. What do we do?" He stopped, turned to face her. "I get out, completely. Legitimize everything. Walk away from the organizations. Relocate if necessary. It's the only way to keep you safe." "You'd do that? Leave everything you've built?" "In a heartbeat, for you." He crossed to her, took her hands. "But it's not fast. It takes time to exit cleanly. Months, maybe. And in that time, you're in danger. They'll keep pressuring you. My enemies will keep watching. It's going to get worse before it gets better." Sienna thought about the easy path. Testify, get immunity, walk away. Go back to her small, safe life where the biggest risk was a badly exposed photograph. Then she looked at Jun. Really looked at him. This man who made her feel powerful, who saw all of her and wanted more, who was willing to leave everything behind to keep her safe. Then we deal with worse, she said firmly. Together. Jun pulled her into his arms, and Sienna felt him shaking slightly. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. He laughed, the sound rough with emotion. I love you. I love you too. But that night, alone in the bathroom, Sienna let herself cry. Not from fear, from anger, at Devon for using her, at the FBI for threatening her, at a world that made loving someone like Jun so dangerous. When she came out, Jun was standing in the doorway. He didn't say anything, just pulled her close and held her while she shook. We're going to be okay, he whispered. Sienna wanted to believe him. The next few weeks were a nightmare, dressed in luxury. Jun worked around the clock with his lawyers, restructuring businesses, legitimizing assets, negotiating his exit from the organizations that had made him powerful. Sienna watched him transform from a man who controlled everything into someone fighting for a future he'd never imagined wanting. But his rivals smelled blood in the water. The kidnapping happened on a Tuesday. Sienna was leaving a photography studio where she'd been interviewing for a job. Something normal, something hers. Daiho was 10 feet behind her, sweeping the area. She never saw the van until it was too late. A hand over her mouth, arms dragging her backward, Daiho shouting, then darkness. She woke in a warehouse, zip-tied to a chair. 3 men stood around her, Russian accents, cold eyes. One of them smiled when he saw she was awake. Ms. Jones, finally. We were beginning to think you'd sleep through all the fun. What do you want? Her voice shook despite her best efforts. Want? We want Kang Jun to remember his place. He thinks he can just walk away? Retire like some legitimate businessman? The man laughed. He needs to be reminded that men like us don't get happy endings. And you're the reminder. They didn't hurt her. Not physically, but the psychological torture of waiting, of knowing Jun would come and wondering what would happen when he did, was its own kind of violence. Hours crawled by. She tried to stay calm, to think, to plan. But mostly she was just terrified. When the warehouse doors finally exploded inward, Sienna had never been so relieved and so afraid at the same time. Jun walked in, flanked by Daiho and 5 other men, and the look on his face was something from nightmares. No emotion, just cold, calculated violence waiting to be unleashed. Let her go. His voice was quiet, which somehow made it more terrifying. Or what? You'll kill us? You're going soft, Kang. Everyone knows it. The great Kang Jun, brought down by a pretty face. Jun's expression didn't change. Last chance. Let her go, and you walk out of here breathing. The Russian laughed and pulled a gun, pressing it to Sienna's temple. I don't think... He didn't finish the sentence. Jun moved faster than Sienna could track. A blur of violence that ended with the Russian on the ground, guns skittering away, Jun's knee on his throat. The other men raised weapons but froze when Daiho's team matched them gun for gun. I said let her go. Jun's voice was still quiet, still deadly. Not negotiate, not posture. Let her go. Someone cut Sienna's zip ties. She stumbled forward, and Daiho caught her, moving her toward the exit. She looked back to see Jun still crouched over the Russian, who was gasping for air. If you ever come near her again, Jun said conversationally, I won't be this merciful. Understand? The Russian nodded frantically. Jun stood, straightened his suit, and walked out like he'd just finished a business meeting. In the car, Sienna couldn't stop shaking. Jun pulled her into his arms, and she felt the tremor running through him too. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have protected you better. You came for me. Always. I will always come for you. He pulled back to look at her, checking for injuries with shaking hands. Did they hurt you? No, just scared me. That's enough. His jaw tightened. That's more than enough. Back at the penthouse, after Sienna had showered and changed, after the adrenaline had faded into exhaustion, she found Jun on the balcony. He was staring at the city, and in the dim light, he looked haunted. "I saw you," she said quietly, joining him. "In that warehouse. I saw what you're capable of. And I'm not scared of you. I'm scared for you. That rage, Jun. It's going to consume you if you don't let it go." He was quiet for a long moment. "I wanted to kill them. Every single one of them. The only thing that stopped me was knowing you'd never look at me the same way again. You were right. That doesn't make me good, Sienna. That makes me selfish. I chose my desire to keep you over what I actually wanted to do. That's called growth. That's called love." She took his hand. "You're not the man you were, and that terrifies your enemies because they don't know how to fight someone who's changing." Jun turned to face her fully. "I'm almost out. 2 more weeks, maybe 3. My lawyers have structured the exit. The organization has accepted the terms. We can disappear. Hawaii first, then New York. We can finally see all those galleries you've always wanted to see. Legitimate businesses, clean slate. We can actually have a life. You'd really do it? Give up all that power? I already told you. For you, in a heartbeat." He pulled her close. "You're the only thing I've ever wanted more than control." Sienna kissed him, pouring everything she felt into it. When they broke apart, she whispered, "Then let's finish this. Let's get out and never look back. Together. Always together." The final confrontation with the FBI came a week later. Agents Morrison and Kim showed up at Jun's building with a warrant. They seized computers, files, anything they could find. But Jun's lawyers were ready. Everything was legitimate now. Every transaction documented. Every business above board. Every connection to his old life severed. "This isn't over," Agent Morrison said, as they left empty-handed. "We know what you are, Kang." "You know what I was," Jun corrected calmly. "And you can't prosecute someone for their past when you can't prove it." After they left, Daiho approached Jun with news. "Devin's been handled. Legal channels like you promised. His cooperation deal with the FBI fell apart when we proved the spyware was obtained through illegal means. He's facing charges of his own now. Wiretapping, harassment, violation of privacy." "Good." Jun looked at Sienna. "Is that enough? Do you have closure?" Sienna thought about it. She'd spent months trying to win Devin back, months feeling like she wasn't enough. Now, knowing he'd used her, violated her trust, and was facing consequences, yeah, that's enough. I don't need to see him or hear from him ever again. That chapter is closed. Jun nodded. Then we're done. With all of it. 2 weeks later, they landed in Hawaii. The house Jun had bought was right on the beach. Private, beautiful, theirs. Sienna stood on the lanai watching the sunset, and for the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe. Jun came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Any regrets? About leaving LA? No. About that accidental photo?" She turned in his arms, smiling. "Best mistake I ever made. You changed my life. You changed mine first. You showed me I was worth more than I believed, that I didn't have to make myself small to be loved. You were never small. You were always this." He gestured at her. "Fierce, bold, perfect. You just needed someone to see it." They made love that night with the sound of waves in the background, and it felt like a new beginning. No more threats, no more danger, just them. 6 months later, they moved to New York. Jun's businesses thrived, all legitimate, all clean. Sienna's photography career took off. She had her first gallery show, and Jun was there for every moment, proud and beaming in a way that still made her heart skip. When he proposed, it was simple. No grand gesture, no production. Just the two of them in their living room, and him saying, "Marry me. Build this life with me. Forever." She said yes before he finished the sentence. The wedding was small. Maya, Deho, a few close friends. No family drama, no complications. Just two people who'd found each other in the most unlikely way, promising forever. On their wedding night, Sienna looked at Jun in his tuxedo and remembered the first time she'd seen him. Dangerous, controlled, untouchable. Now he was hers. Soft only for her. Human only with her. "What are you thinking?" he asked, pulling her close. "That I sent a photo to the wrong number and ended up with exactly the right person." Jun laughed, that rare, genuine sound she'd learned to treasure. "I received a photo from a stranger and found the only person who could make me want something more than power. Was it worth it? Giving up everything you built?" "Sienna." He cupped her face, his dark eyes serious. "You are everything I built. Every decision, every sacrifice, every moment of the last year has been about building a life where I get to keep you. So yes, 1,000 times yes." She kissed him then, and they lost themselves in each other, the way they had that first night. But this time, there was no danger waiting, no threats lurking, just a future stretching out before them, full of possibility. Years later, when people asked Sienna how she met her husband, she'd smile mysteriously and say, "Wrong number, right person. Sometimes the biggest mistakes lead to the best outcomes." And Jun, standing beside her, would take her hand and add, "Sometimes the most dangerous choice is the one that saves you." They'd built something beautiful from chaos, found love in the most unlikely place, proved that even people from different worlds could create their own world together. Sienna never regretted that photo, never regretted blocking that number or getting in that car, or choosing to stay when every logical part of her screamed to run. Because sometimes, the scariest choice is the right one, and sometimes, the wrong number changes everything. So here's my question for you, and I really want to know. If you accidentally sent a risky photo to a dangerous stranger who insisted on meeting you, would you go? Or would you run and never look back? Drop your answer in the comments, and check out my pinned comment for an even spicier question about this story. If you loved Sienna and Jun's story, smash that like button right now. It helps more people find these stories. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next dramatic tale of unexpected love and dangerous choices. And please, share this with someone who believes in taking risks for the right person, or anyone who's ever made a mistake that turned out to be destiny. Drop a comment telling me, what was your best wrong number or accidental moment that changed your life? I read every single one, and your stories might inspire the next video. Until next time, remember that sometimes the best things in life come from the mistakes we're brave enough to make.